Chapter 7. On Earth as it is in Heaven. Principle. No heaven, no manifestation. You will not materialize your desired reality until you live in heaven. There are prerequisites to materializing your desired reality, and one of them is entering heaven, not in the religious sense of a particular location in the afterlife, but in the metaphysical sense. Most people make the mistake of attempting to materialize their desired reality without realizing that the frequency in which they live and exist is in direct opposition to what they want. It's safe to say that most of the world live in hell, and you can only ever be where you are. In the religious sense, hell and heaven are locations in the afterlife that one enters depending upon how they lived their life in accordance to the will of their God. But these two locations exist on earth, specifically within your consciousness. Nor will they say, "See here," or "See there," for indeed, the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. Christ stated very plainly that the kingdom of God, which is synonymous with heaven, isn't outside of you or in the sky, but within you. This idea directly contradicts the notion of heaven being location in the afterlife, as religious institutions have been marketing to the masses for thousands of years. For more context, Christ was talking to his people and explaining how others will point you to a place and say that the kingdom of God is here or there, but you should not fall for it because the kingdom of God is within you. The idea of heaven being within you should lead to an internal restructuring and redefining of what heaven is. How can you go to a place that is within you? Why would I have to die to go to a place that is within me? How is it that when you die, you will go to heaven, but Christ says it is within you? To reaffirm Luke 17:21, in the Lost Gospel of Thomas, Christ explains the same concept. Jesus said, "If those who lead you say to you, 'See, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky are closer than you. If they say to you, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish already know it. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you." The truth is, until heaven is metaphysically defined, your desired reality will be confined. Heaven isn't a location in the afterlife. It is the immersion into the formless state of absolute awareness, a unification with the infinite intelligence, also known as God. In this unification with God, the mind is unburdened by attachment, resistance, temporal limitation, desire, wants or needs, and it requires nothing for it has everything. Heaven isn't a place but a realization, the direct knowing of self as the infinite, unfragmented whole. In this state, separation from God dissolves, suffering ceases, and experience aligns with effortless inner calm, peace, and bliss. The irony is, whether you realize this or not, you have touched heaven at some point in your life. That inner stillness, peace, calm, where you were in complete fulfillment and felt whole, desiring nothing because you felt connected to everything. Heaven is not a place you get to, but a place you realize is already here within you. It is the silent backdrop behind all illusion, accessible the moment one surrenders the need to seek the world for what only it can give you. Hell, being the energetic polarity of heaven, is also not a particular location in the afterlife. Like heaven, it is a state of consciousness, a frequency in which many do not realize they are already living. Hell is immersion into the physical plane, a lack of awareness for the other planes of existence leading one to be consumed by the ego, which takes the world around to be the only truth, also known as the devil. This unification with the devil, the ego, a consciousness burdened by attachment, resistance, temporal limitation, desire, wants, and needs, requires everything due to a distortion in perception where one fails to realize one has everything. Hell isn't a place, but a failure to realize and see oneself as the infinite, unfragmented whole. Hell is often described as a separation from God, but since God is omnipresent, that doesn't make sense. Hell is misalignment from God. This misalignment leads to suffering, inner chaos, conflict, and restlessness, despite the illusion that material possessions can resolve those things. The irony is, whether you realize this or not, you have touched hell at some point in your life. That inner chaos and conflict, where you felt a lack of fulfillment or completion, leading to a sense of being disconnected. Nobody can escape the truth that reality is nothing more than immaterialized frequency, and any frequency maintained will be materialized. Many desire heaven while maintaining a frequency which resonates with hell. Those who live in a hellish state can only experience hell, and those who live in a heavenly state can only experience heaven. The path to heaven can only be walked by those in heaven. Reality will never precede consciousness. Effect will never precede cause. You can only have what you already have, and if the frequency you're emanating to the universe is hellish, it cannot possibly not bring you to heaven. Apple seeds will never produce mangoes, and mango seeds will never produce apples. This is a simple truth in the world of nature, and it reflects how the universe works. In the modern day, hell is equivalent to living in survival mode. From a neuroscientific point of view, when one is living in survival mode, it is typically due to a lack of safety, which triggers the primal brain into operation. The primal brain has no other purpose than survival, flight or fight, and nothing else. While survival mode is often associated with poverty, paradoxically, wealthy people also live in survival mode. Since the primal brain is responsible for flight or fight, its only concern is surviving by hyper-focusing on what is immediately in front of it. This zeroing in on reality restricts our level of awareness, which means a limited perspective. This reduction in awareness and perspective shuts down higher levels of thinking, since survival is the priority. A lower level of awareness will always lead to reality being distorted to reflect the lower aspects of one's nature, which will always correlate with negativity. Hell is directly opposed to the materialization of your desired reality metaphysically. In neuroscientific terms, it is specifically opposed to your brain waves. The alteration of reality requires an alteration of one's frequency or one's state of consciousness, which requires an alteration of one's subconscious mind. The subconscious mind becomes more accessible in certain brainwave states, allowing for deeper influence and transformation. By leveraging the optimal brainwave frequencies, you can achieve more with less effort as your mind becomes more receptive to change. To revert to the point initially made at the start of this chapter, until you can enter heaven, you will not be able to enter your desired reality. This is due to the fact that what we metaphysically consider to be heaven when it comes to brainwaves is the door to the subconscious mind. There are various brainwaves that the brain cycles throughout the day. Beta waves, 12 to 30 Hz. Alpha waves, 8 to 12 Hz. Theta waves, 4 to 8 Hz. Delta waves, 0.5 to 4 Hz. Beta waves are associated with being awake, alert, and active. It is the standard mode of operation in your day-to-day life. Alpha waves are associated with a meditative, relaxed state. It is the state before drowsiness. Theta waves are associated with deep meditation, a trance-like state which is typically used in hypnosis and is equivalent to a drowsy state. Delta waves are associated with deep sleep. The slower the brain waves, the closer they are to the subconscious mind. Beta waves are produced during conscious operation, and so long as the conscious mind is present, the subconscious mind won't be. Think about these brainwave states like trains. The slower the brainwave state, the easier it is to catch a ride to the subconscious mind. The slow trains are your only entry into the subconscious mind. Most people make the mistake of attempting to give the subconscious mind their desired reality to materialize while operating in a brainwave state that prioritizes the conscious mind. To put it another way, they are trying to catch the fast trains, which only lead to the conscious mind and not the subconscious mind. The brain waves we produce are interconnected with either heaven or hell. Those who live in a survival state of consciousness rarely relax. Their alertness means they mainly produce beta waves, which are the fastest waves that call upon the operation of the conscious mind, and not the subconscious mind. Therefore, all attempts to alter their frequency, or state of consciousness or subconscious mind, are made in vain. They're trying to catch a train that doesn't lead to the subconscious mind. Those who live in a survival state of consciousness live in hell, and those who live in hell produce beta waves, which means they never access their subconscious mind. Could this be the reason so many of those who live in survival mode struggle to alter their minds? Alternatively, those who live in a heavenly state of consciousness are always relaxed, mainly producing alpha and theta waves, which are slower and lead to the subconscious rather than conscious mind. Therefore, all attempts to alter their frequency, or state of consciousness or subconscious mind, are effortless and successful because they're trying to catching a train that leads to the subconscious mind. It is much easier for a car to drive on smooth, calm roads than roads filled with bumps and potholes. In the same manner, it is much easier for a boat to sail on calm waters. The more relaxed you are day to day, the more likely your brain will be producing waves that are conducive to what you're trying to put into your subconscious mind. The less relaxed you are, the less likely your brain will be producing waves that are conducive to what you're trying to put in your brain. The truth of brain waves and their interconnection to the two states of consciousness is highlighted esoterically in John 3:27. John answered and said, "A man can receive nothing except it be given him from heaven." Nothing you desire on this physical plane will ever be attained unless you are already in the frequency of being in heaven. Metaphysically, to live in a heavenly state is to exist with inner calm, peace, bliss, fulfillment, and to desire nothing, which would indicate to the universe that you have everything. It's likely that the attainment of your desired reality would produce the state above, so the state above would produce the attainment of your desired reality. Attaining your desired reality would bring you peace, inner calm, and bliss, so peace, inner calm, and bliss can also bring your desired reality. Relaxation is the prerequisite for brainwaves that allow for easy access to the subconscious mind, which is the womb of reality. To receive, the prerequisite is to be in a heavenly state. Conversely, those in hell never receive. Another Bible verse encapsulates what I call the heavenly order of manifestation. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Matthew 6:33. Here, the heavenly order of manifestation is established. Before seeking the materiality of your desired reality, instead of seeing the money, the wealth, the partner, the career, or whatever it is you desire, you must first seek a heavenly state of consciousness. Calm the waters before you set sail. Here's the issue. Part of you believes that once you get your desired reality, you'll feel complete, fulfilled, satisfied, calm, and relaxed, without realizing that if you aren't already those things, you cannot have them. The bigger problem is that if you don't have them currently, then you indicate to the universe that you have their opposites, which are emptiness, unfulfillment, dissatisfaction, and chaos, which are what will be reflected. Any time that you go against the heavenly order of manifestation, you unconsciously descend into the hellish order of manifestation, which will only lead to hell. If you put your desires above heaven, then your desires will always be out of reach. Until you recognize that where you think you'll be after getting your desired reality is where you need to start from, you'll never arrive. Seek first to be internally fulfilled, satisfied, calm, and relaxed without your desired reality, and all the things you want will be given to you, because to be in that state indicates to the universe that you already have them. The universe will never bow before the one who bows before illusion. The only way to get those things you desire is to enter heaven by first giving them to yourself, not in the humanistic way, but the universal way. At this point, it should be clear that relaxation is the prerequisite to revealing your desired reality. That's non-negotiable, practical. Relaxation is your natural state, which I understand seems counterintuitive, given the hectic, stressful nature of today's world. If relaxation is the mandatory step to materializing your desired reality, those who are never relaxed can never truly materialize their desired reality. True relaxation arises from disconnecting from the outside world, and that is because it is the world that seeks to keep you from relaxation. It seeks to siphon your peace of mind by getting you to focus on work, your inadequacies, family dramas, politics, or the latest war. How can you relax when the mind is so preoccupied? I'm not suggesting you neglect the outside world, rather encouraging you to pay attention to your inner world, so when you pay attention to the world, it receives what it deserves from you. Relaxation is when the mind is occupied by nothing. Only you can make yourself relaxed. Anything that can make you relaxed can take that feeling away. And true relaxation is independent to any person, any condition, and any circumstance. Whatever the world gives you, it can take from you, and at some point, it most definitely will. To immerse yourself into nothingness, to reach that inner stillness, is the true pathway to relaxation. To seek refuge in the inner world instead of the outer world is how you are granted protection by the heavenly government. To be still is to do nothing. Whether you meditate or not, make a practice of doing nothing. Naturally, the mind will begin to tell you how difficult it is to relax, but that is the old frequency speaking. It wants to exist without relaxation, as it knows that is the stepping stone to your new frequency. Difficulty aside, what other choice do you have than to relax?